Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Wednesday.
I'm confused. As Vin Diesel has been talking about the new Fast and Furious, that's not a confusing part. But apparently the next Fast and Furious film, which is expected to be arriving in 2027, is going to feature Paul Walker's character returning. And this is, of course, 12 years after the death of Paul Walker. He was integral in the original movies of the franchise, which, you know, has become gigantic and also completely jumped the shark in terms of what it's about and what physics will allow these cars and people to do. Fast X Part 2. So I guess a direct sequel to the 10th one? I don't know. But he did say that he will only continue the franchise under 3 conditions. I have to imagine in reality, all 3 of those conditions are a lot of money, but he says he wants to bring it back to LA, he wants to bring it back to street racing, he wants to bring it back to Paul Walker's character. I have no idea how. There's a lot of technology to allow people to do that kind of thing today, and a lot of people aren't so happy when people do use that technology today, so I don't know. It's a long way away. 2027 is not something I even really care to think about right now, but curious tease, curious hook nonetheless.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
Judas Priest in the news because they are giving tribute to Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. They did a cover of War Pigs ahead of the final show from the Prince of Darkness that's happening on July 5th. They were recently just getting together, for a big show ahead of the big show called Back to the Beginning. And it's going to see Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward all joining back together again. Original Frontline. And Rob Halford, of course, gutted that he can't actually be there. Hence the tribute. Liam Gallagher has now reached out with a response to the guy that got kicked off the stage while Green Day were playing. If you didn't hear about this, Liam Gallagher saying best song of the night. Green Day's got a bit of a tradition of getting a fan up on stage whenever possible to do the final song of the night, and they often do Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. But when this fan was brought up on stage, they started kicking into Wonderwall. You got Billy Joe Armstrong going, oh wait, no, hang on, nice try. Meanwhile, Oasis have made a big announcement of their own. What's the Story? Morning Glory is going to have a 30th anniversary reissue, and there's even new unplugged versions of classic songs and a newly shared version of Acquiesce available as a teaser for this new release that's going to be available on October 3rd. Of course, pre-orders already available. Rob McElhenney. Honestly, I don't think that his name is all that hard to pronounce or read, and in fact, there's a whole song that Ryan Reynolds has made about it to teach people how to say Rob McElhenney. He's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame, of course, Welcome to Wrexham, and kind of breaking out a little bit these days into more roles, although he did not get to have his cameo in Deadpool Wolverine. It got cut, cutting room floor. Anyway, he's decided to change his name to Rob Mac, legally actually making the application, and we're making way too much of a big deal out of this. He agrees. This is what he had to say.
Okay, I'm going to dedicate exactly 1 minute to this. Start the clock. Yes, I'm shortening my name to Rob Mac. Mostly a stage name, but I digress. Is it kind of douchey? Sure. But the amount of time that I have wasted trying to get people to either say or spell my name correctly is literally days of my life. Trust me, I added it up. More importantly, it means thousands of you have had minutes of your life stolen by me because of my last name, including this one.
And I'm not even going to do the full minute. That was only 22 seconds of the minute. And yet I think that's enough. He goes on to say that, yeah, there's a lot of weird family history, and the name has had different spellings over time, so really, who cares? He's still loved and loves his family in equal measure, despite how many syllables are in his name. I think it makes a lot of sense, I guess. Rob Mac, we're going to give it a try.
Thursday.
Today I learned that you can trigger a false alarm at the airport. Depending on the technology, it's like the scanning hands up thing that rotates around you. That machine can have a false alarm triggered because you've got sweaty junk. This is the thing. And I guess it's because of the technology uses microwaves that can bounce off of surfaces, and that's how they can determine kind of what the material of that surface is made of. And it bounces off of wet things differently. Water is a different scenario. I guess your wallet is too, because they always make you hold that in your hand. But yeah, the water that may be accumulated in your nether region could give that machine a false positive going, hey, hang on, there's something weird here. You got to check this out. As if a swampy situation downstairs isn't its own ordeal to deal with. And like you're flying already. This is just adding insult to injury. The Stubby bottle, the classic Canadian short-necked beer bottle, has got a bit of a history here in our country, and it was basically the only bottle that Canadian beer bottlers and producers were using for the longest time. It kind of got streamlined across North America and the world, and you don't see the Stubby bottle all that often. Often I associate it now with Red Stripe, actually, which definitely doesn't come directly from in Canada. At least I don't think so. But now there's a push. This whole pro-Canada thing going on. Our cultural identity is being renewed and invigorated by a lot of different avenues, and one of them is that there are a group of producers of draft beer and other brews through Canada who want to get together and maybe bring back the Stubby bottle as a sign of Canadian brewing superiority, and basically just a trademark of the quality of the craft in our country. Craft draft deliciousness. I love this idea. Why not? I never really had too much thought or emotional investment with the long neck bottle. But the short bottle kind of has a little bit of a something going on with it, doesn't it? It's different. And so is Canada, all tucked away down there. I absolutely love this idea. I would love to see that this becoming an international thing where people around the world go, oh, well, that's got to be a Canadian, or probably at least.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
We're just a couple days away from the big Black Sabbath farewell show with the original lineup reunited once again, and they've been celebrated now in Lego ahead of this very final show. It's going to be taking place in their hometown of Birmingham, and it's going to be an absolutely gigantic festival of sorts, a day-long festival. Back to the beginning is what they're calling the entire event. And Legoland Discovery Center in that very same city has gotten all 4 members performing live, produced in plastic instead of the live show that's just days away. Feels like minutes now. Liam Gallagher in a little bit of hot water after a racial slur slipped out on a tweet on X. I guess it was a term that he had used that is one that some might use to mock East Asian people of descent. But he says he does not discriminate and is trying to say that it wasn't intentional, and perhaps there was just not an awareness of the history or the usage or even the meaning of the word, which is probably not a great word to use in that case. But isn't it funny how that always comes coupled with, I just used something that was discriminatory, but I don't discriminate. Hopefully it was a lapse in judgment more than anything nefarious. Got to see it last night, the brand new Jurassic Park movie, technically a Jurassic World movie, Rebirth, officially out there into the world now and starting off the trio of July blockbusters with Superman and then Fantastic Four to follow amidst a bunch of other movies. Now, I've got your spoiler-free, or at least light spoiler, including Jurassic World Rebirth review. How do they take such a great and interesting premise and keep churning out mediocre movies about it? That is the major question. We're heading off the mainland again for another isolated island adventure, despite the first 3 movies of the Jurassic World era being about the world. The impossibility of containing dinosaurs and the world becoming dotted with ancient beasts and therefore forever being changed. That was what we just spent the last 3 movies doing? Nope, not anymore. Dinosaurs are only in a sunny, sexy location now. It's fine. Like the movie, it's fine. It's a thrill ride. I don't know if there was a single character I cared about. That's an important part of these movies. Dinosaurs, thrill ride, yes. Characters you care about. I'm sorry, Scarlett. I tried. I really did. The dinosaurs are great, but again, they didn't really seem to interact with each other very much outside of a little swimming. So I guess it just is annoying that this movie is absolutely going to make $1 billion again. You know that scene in Jurassic Park, The Lost World, number 2, they're talking about the mistakes? It kind of feels like that, except for they're also making old mistakes as well.
I'm not making the same mistakes again.
No, you're making all new ones.
Friday.
Tying one on at Calgary Stampede. They are clearing the way for all-day drinking It has begun already. I mean, not necessarily the drinking. I just mean the event, the Stampede, 10 days of it already has begun, technically as of 6:30, because there's a blanket permit for all bars to say that sales can start at 8 a.m. for the next 10 days, but special events can get a permit to allow drinks to flow as early as 6:30 a.m. As in, you could potentially already have a beer in hand. You know, I don't know if I've ever set my alarm to drink before. How do you be cool? Is there a formula that you can crack? Are you born with it? Is it something that can be developed? What is coolness, you know?
Everybody be cool. You be cool.
Thanks, Clooney. There's a new study that was published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, so maybe take it with a grain of salt, but they claim to have the magic code of the 6 traits that people do perceive as cool. If you have these, then you're cool. Extroverted, hedonistic, powerful, adventurous, open, and autonomous. Those all sound good on paper, but honestly, if I saw that in somebody's bio on a dating app, probably skip them by. Gotta be honest. We start off with the brothers Gallagher and the return of Oasis officially. Anybody who had a pool with them breaking up before the reunion tour Live 95 in 2025 style arrived. Tonight is the night. I mean, I guess technically it hasn't started yet, but the first night of their return to the stage is happening at Cardiff for tonight with a huge rollout for their reunion tour and, of course, re-released anniversary editions of albums gone by. And speaking of big shows this weekend, there's the July 5th return of Black Sabbath, the original members coming back for a farewell show, and of course a ton of support from other acts. Reportedly, Guns N' Roses has been using their sound check time to practice tunes. Maybe they're just excited about it, but they've been covering some Black Sabbath songs before they even start the concert at several different locations recently. They will be joining tomorrow when it comes to the Birmingham show that will be like no other. And Ringo Starr says that he actually had to get involved with the Beatles biopics. He will be played by actor Barry Keoghan. Sam Mendes, the director, apparently was told by Ringo in no uncertain terms to rewrite parts of the biopics because simply, we would never do that.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
There's a few different things that are happening that make it kind of a special weekend between the Calgary Stampede starting today and it being the 4th of July down in the States, not to mention a huge music festival right here in our own backyard. There's going to be a lot of videos to watch over the weekend. And in particular, when it comes to the 4th of July side of things, probably a lot of emergency room visits for that matter. Hopefully not. Put the fireworks down, all right? We have been playing the Kick-Ass Music Giveaway Contest all through last week, and this week it comes to an end, though, as all good things do. It wraps up with the winners, 3 winners out of 10 qualifiers, big prize packages from the music room at the All In Sports Den. First prize went out to Brad, who called in earlier and played the game, and then we got prize 2 going to Ken, each of them getting several vinyls and a CD, but the grand prize is going out to our friend Patrick, who's, winning a big prize package. The grand prize, of course, the largest out of the lot of them. That's some very good news for you, sir.
Yes, boy.
Yeah, not bad. So you got 4 vinyls and a CD plus a record player from the music room at the All In Sports Den. A Big Wreck album, a Gloria Sons album, a 3 Days Grace album, an Our Lady Peace album, and a Matthew Good Band album.
Holy fuck.
And the Bluetooth-enabled stereo turntable with speakers for good measure as well.
Wicked. That's a good start to the day.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, congratulations. Have a great weekend and enjoy all the music.
I will, buddy. Thank you.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.